Hey Dragon Slayers, today's video discusses what happens when we fast. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. Let's get started. The process of using and storing food energy that occurs when we eat in reverse when we fast. Insulin levels drop, signaling the body to start burning stored energy. Glycogen, which is the glucose that's stored in the liver, is the most easily accessible energy source, and the liver stores enough to produce energy for 24 hours or so. After that, the body starts to break down stored body fat for energy. So you see, the body really only exists in two states: the fed, which is a high insulin state, and the fasted, which is a low insulin state. Either we are storing food energy or we are burning food energy. If eating and fasting are balanced, then there is no weight gain. If, however, we spend the majority of the day storing food energy because we're in the fed state, then over time we will gain weight. What is needed then is to restore balance by increasing the amount of time we burn food energy by going into the fasted state. The transition from the fed state to the fasted state is going to be something that's good for all of us. So, classically described by George Cahill, it's one of the leading experts in fasting physiology. There are 5 key things that happen throughout this fast. So these 5 states would be 1, which is the feeding. It's when blood sugar levels rise as we absorb the incoming food, and insulin rises in response to move glucose into cells, which use it for energy. Excess glucose is stored as glycogen in the liver or converted to fat. The number 2 is the post-absorptive phase. It's 6 to 24 hours after beginning fasting. At this point, blood sugar and insulin levels begin to fall. The supply of energy to the liver starts to break down glycogen and release glucose. Glycogen stores last for approximately 24 to 36 hours. Gluconeogenesis, 24 hours to 2 days after beginning fasting. At this point, glycogen stores have run out. The liver manufactures new glucose and amino acids in a process called gluconeogenesis. Literally, it means making new glucose. In non-diabetic persons, glucose levels fall but stay within the normal range. Number 4 is ketosis, 2 to 3 days after beginning fasting. Low insulin levels stimulate lipolysis, which is the breakdown of fat for energy. Triglycerides, which are the form of fat used for storage, are broken into glycerol backbones and 3 fatty acid chains. The glycerol is used for gluconeogenesis, so the amino acids formerly used end up being the amino acids that are formerly used can be reserved for protein synthesis. The fatty acids are used directly for energy by most of the tissues of the body, though not your brain. The body uses fatty acids to produce ketone bodies, which are capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier and are used by the brain for energy. After 4 days of fasting, approximately 75% of the energy used by the brain is provided by ketones. The 2 major types of ketones produced are beta-hydroxybutyrate and acetyltartrate. I'm probably mispronouncing that, which can increase over 70-fold during fasting. The protein conservation phase, 5 days after beginning fasting, high levels of growth hormone maintain muscle mass and lean tissues. The energy for basic metabolism is entirely supplied by fatty acids and ketones. Blood glucose is maintained by gluconeogenesis using glycerol, increasing norepinephrine, which is adrenaline, levels prevent any decrease in metabolic rate. There is a normal amount of protein turnover, but it is not being used for energy. In essence, what we're describing here is the process of switching from burning glucose to burning fat. Fat is simply the body's stored food energy. In times of low availability, stored food is naturally released to fill the void. The body does not burn muscle in an effort to feed itself until all the fat stores are used up. One critical point to underscore is that these mechanisms are entirely natural and entirely normal. Periods of low food availability have always been a natural part of human history, and our bodies have formed mechanisms to adapt to this fact of Paleolithic life. Otherwise, we would not have survived as a species. There are no adverse health consequences to activating these protocols, except in the case of malnutrition. You should not fast if you're malnourished. Of course, and extreme fasting can cause malnourishment too. The body is not shutting down, it's merely changing fuel sources. From the food that we eat to our own fat. It does this with the help of several hormone adaptations to fasting. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. And remember, guys, that together, you and I will slay the dreaded diabetes dragon.